What's up all you Venomized dudes and dudettes, ToyShiz here, and I'm back again to give you guys a brand new fresh look, and today we're totally going to be checking out the brand new Marvel's toy box, straight from the Disney store, the Venom action figure. And this is not necessarily a toy line that I would go after, we'll just say, but you give me Venom any day and a really slick, stylized looking Venom, well then I'm all over it. This is number 21, it seems to be in this series, and it includes tentacles. I just want to make sure I'm saying that right. But he's a very heavy figure, and I especially like the box art. You know, you get this really cool digital render, but it looks slick. There's a couple new figures on the back. Captain Marvel, Malibu Wolverine, and of course a Far From Home Spider-Man. And they do look good. It's just that these aren't necessarily my type of figures. I'm just making an exception for this Venom because I'm a huge Venom fan. But that Spider-Man, he does look pretty cool. But I digress. Let's sit back, let's relax, grab yourself a cup of coffee. This is the brand new Marvel's Disney's Toy Box Venom action figure. And here's old Venom out of the packaging, and he's every bit as awesome as I was hoping. This guy is sleek. He's got a fantastic paint job to him. And he just totally reminds me of Skottie Young's artwork. It's a little bit of a take on that, I will say. That's probably the closest thing. Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon's take on Venom does look a little bit close, but the action figure of him closely more resembles it. He does have that bigger upper body and smaller legs, but this one is entirely its own animal. He's got this great head portrait too, in fact, and it just lends itself to some really good silhouettes. If you look at Skottie Young's artwork with the tongue, with the way the spider symbol sort of goes, the giant arms down to the moderately tiny legs, I would say again, yeah, this is probably your best bet for a Skottie Young type look, animated if anything. But it's the extra head portrait with Brock sticking out of it, which sold me on that. I think that's a fantastically cool head portrait to have, and the fact that you can swap them out is even better. The spider symbol on the back is sculpted and it looks amazing. Just the overall silhouette this guy presents, the wisp of the eyes, the mouth, the extended jaw, again, very much Skottie Young, and I like to be able to kind of pinpoint it with his various illustrations. It's very cool. It's a very stark contrast with the red to the white to the black. You almost think that, you know, this, if had he come with some little comic balloons or something like that, that would have been even better. But it's just the overall look and aesthetics of this figure that really sold me on it. It's just a very different looking Venom, and I can appreciate it. For as many Venoms as I bought, this guy is totally stylized, and his tendril whipping accessory is one of the coolest Venom accessories I've ever had before. It fits this character, this figure, perfectly. The one downside is that this Venom does have a peg sticking out for this tendril whipping action. I would have preferred to kind of go the other way around. Have the peg on the actual accessory and then have it clip and fit onto his wrist, but it does stabilize it quite well. You do get some awesome gooey symbiote action out of it, and it does replace some of the webbing. This Venom doesn't actually have the square webbing things on his hand, unfortunately. So we're going more the Venom movie route, and what kind of Venom has become less webbing and more using the symbiote in different various forms. Popping at the head is actually a piece of cake. You simply just pop the head out and replace it with the Eddie Brock type head. And as you can see, it's just a large hole to where each one pegs in. But the head portrait with Eddie Brock sticking out the mouth is just, again, what sold me even more on this figure. The silhouette it presents, the look from the side, it's just awesome. It's different. It's so cool, and it's got that really awesome stylized look to it. But let's go ahead and let's look at the articulation and the accessories more in detail. Now, to go over the articulation for this Venom, his head will only rotate side to side. Nothing on a ball joint or anything else like that. He's got pretty good articulation in the shoulders. They'll go all the way around. He's got swivel at the elbow, and the elbows work pretty well. You can actually get some good range of motion out of them, and then he also has hinges in the wrists, and they swivel back and forth. Just keep a lookout, and I'm told some of these toy box figures, you get a lot of paint stuck in the actual joints, and mine is no exception. So if it's something that bothers you, maybe look at him in the package. It's kind of flaked off, and it really has done no damage to the figure, but it is something worth pointing out. He will rotate at the waist, nothing upper body. He will kick out, kick back. He's got single jointed knees, and he does have a pretty good ankle I guess it just swivels. It goes up and down and swivels, doesn't go side to side. On the side of the arm right here, you see the peg for his accessory, which is this really cool tendrils, and I love the way they kind of intertwine. I love this part right here. This kind of goes underneath and curls around. It's just very animation-like, very just, you can feel the movement from it. It has a hole right there, which clips onto the peg, which then goes around his wrist, and he holds it really, really nicely. I like that it's done. The one exception I would say is that I really wish this peg was actually on this, and it kind of clipped into his arm, just because aesthetically, now you have this big peg sticking off the side of his hand, so not my ideal situation. But it is black, so you don't really see it. To switch out his heads, it simply just pops out. It's a rather large joint, and you can just slip in the new head, push in, and bingo bango. They go in and out really nicely, with the exception of that and some chippage of the paint in the actual joints, which doesn't really affect the figure. I would say this guy is pretty solid. And here he is lined up with a number of other Venom figures in my collection, and he does stack up at around the 5.5-inch mark. He's a little small for a Venom figure, so if you are looking to kind of pair him up with Marvel Legends or Mezco, Diamond Select, something to that degree, you're going to be disappointed. He's a small Venom. He doesn't really fit with a lot. I would say the more 5-inch old school Toy Biz Venom, Spider-Man type figures will fit the best. If anything, if you're a big Venom fan, I would say that he's going to be just another cool piece for your collection. I have dozens of Venoms from all different art styles and everything else, so he is something different. And like I said, pairing up with Marvel Legends or Mezco, something to that degree, he will be entirely too small for the height requirement. Venom's a big buff dude, as we all know, but that doesn't take away from the fact that, again, yes, if you are a Venom fan, I would highly recommend this for your collection. If you are a Toybox fan, if you've been after those figures, then I think that they would fit really nicely as well. Again, being the 5.5-inch mark, he's going to be smaller than most action figures, so the scaling will be way off. If you're not a Venom fan, or maybe you're trying to get into Toybox, something like that, this might not be the figure for you. I would think maybe start with Spider-Man or something like that. Being a big Venom fan, I highly recommend it. I love the paint on this guy. I love the tongue, the silhouette, the extra head portrait, the winding of the tendrils or the symbiote. Everything just works for me, and I really do like the articulation. The one thing I would change would be the peg system for the actual weapon that clips on. That's a little bit weird. And just to kind of watch out for the paint in certain areas around the joints and such like that. But for me, this is a spot-on figure, and I definitely recommend it. So you can pick this up now at the Disney store. They are on a sale for about $10 if you want them. You can get them in the store or online. Your choice. And I'm curious to know what you guys think about this Toybox Venom figure. Comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything Venom. I love this new accessory the Spider-Man figures are getting for Legends. I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, don't call him Symbiote. It's just Symbiote to you. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.